Hey, hey, fellow soul anarchists, how you doing? Welcome to the Sunday Night Burn, brothers, sisters, and everyone in between. Hope you're having a great night. I am going to get some lights switched on here, and then we will get to it. Thank you for those of you who have come tonight. It's always nice to come tonight, isn't it? To the Soul Anarchist Sunday Night Burn. All right, here we go. Let's get a little more light going. Trying to balance things out a bit. That's a little better. It's a little better. We're going to wait just a moment or two, let some other people sign on. That's good. And let's get just a tiny bit more light over here. Oh, yeah. That's much better. Okay, great. I'm happy with that. Are you good? I'm good. I think we're all good. And let's get on my notes. For those of you who are here for the first time, the Sunday Night Burn is something that we soul anarchists do every Sunday night. In the spirit of a fireside chat, we get together, we circle the wagons around a fire, as it were. And in the spirit of a fireside chat, one tradition I invite you to always participate in is to light something up. And in this case, I'm going to light up a candle, but you may light some incense, candle, some other combustible material that makes you feel nice. That's always good. Anyway, here's our fire. We're going to circle our wagons around that. It's a BYOB event, so bring something delicious to drink in your hand. I've got a kind of a nice little dry Riesling tonight. Riesling is a varietal of wine that is usually quite sweet. Riesling gets overlooked a lot, I think, because of its sweetness. Because once you make it past your first year of being a wine drinker, you realize that sweetness is trouble, and it's bad on several levels. And I found myself, and most people do, gravitating towards wines that don't have as much residual sugar in them. Now, Riesling is a fascinating grape because it's pretty robust. Riesling has a lot of structure to it. It can have a lot of structure. It can have a lot of different notes in it, it can come at you from a lot of different ways. And from everything from the things we love about a great Pinot Gris that's like maybe from the Alsatian area that has like great flint and earthy stone tone like notes in it, to all the traditional things we'd expect from Chardonnay, green apple, pear, a little bit of citrus, sometimes some grassy notes, whatever. Anyway, Riesling, in my mind, brings together the best of all of those worlds. And the unfortunate thing is a lot of the time it brings some residual sugar with it. But if you can find a good dry Riesling, now you're talking. In my mind, dry Riesling is probably the most versatile white food wine. It can show up anywhere Chardonnay is welcome. It can show up like pretty much it can take the place of virtually any white that you were planning on. It can show up where Sauvignon Blanc was expected. It can obviously take the place of a Pinot Gris or a Pinot Grigio or anything like that. But that's not hard. And can really just slide in and be the master of ceremonies of your food that night if you're eating something that calls for a good white. So anyway, that's what I'm drinking tonight. Cheers to a good dry Riesling. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. All right. Enough wine geek talk. Let's get to it. Let me pull up my notes. So for those of you who are here for the first time, the Sunday Night Burn, again, is something we do as soul anarchists. We get together and we talk about some aspect of living life on our own terms. That's what soul anarchy means, is to live life on one's own terms. And I'm not an expert. I'm just an enthusiast, okay? I'm not a guru. I'm not an expert. I'm just a fan of this kind of thing. I'm a curator. I'm a collector. I have excellent taste, and I know where all the good stuff is, and I will always do my best to bring it to you, but none of it's mine. So that said, All right, let's get into this week's chat. So I had a really cool experience this week. Um, Actually, we have some housekeeping to take care of. We'll get to the housekeeping at the end. We're going to talk about the Soul Anarchist Man Cave at the end. Cool experience. One of my best friends, one of my dearest friends, Gideon, hit me up a couple days ago. It was like 4 in the afternoon, and I'm working at home, and I get a message from him saying, "Hey, you want to come with to the Muse concert?" Now, Muse is one of those bands that I mean, who doesn't know about Muse? Everybody knows about Muse. But I've never paid a lot of attention to them. And the few singles I've heard before, I just heard this like big sort of quasi operatic voice, and it was very polished, and the production was like super tight, super polished, and it just didn't like really, like didn't really grab me. It didn't, yeah, just it didn't grab my imagination. And so I've just blown Muse off for years and years and years. Even though many of my friends, whose opinions I respect a lot, love Muse. I just, I don't know, it just didn't seem like it was going to be my thing, right? So I told Gideon when he asked me if I wanted to go, I said, look, real talk, I don't know any Muse songs. I've never listened to a Muse album. I don't know their music. I don't know, like I'm a total newbie here. But I understand that most people, like people who like them, love them. So you should hit up the rest of your friends and see if you have any Muse fans among your friends that want to go to this, because they'll appreciate it so much more than I will. Even if I love the show, they're going to love it like 10 times more being a Muse fan, And he said, okay, great. Well, like 2 hours later, I hear back from him. He's like, no takers. Do you want to go? I'm like, hell yeah. Okay, I'm in. Totally in. And I just thought, I love discovering new bands as live bands. Some of my favorite bands I've discovered over the years I've just heard them on stage the first time. And that's what got me hooked. And so I thought, well, I'm open to that happening tonight. And I mean, worst case scenarios, it'll be entertaining. It may not become my favorite band in the whole world, but I'm sure it'll be great. And I just fucking love hanging out with Gideon. He's one of my brothers. So I was all in. So I meet him over at the arena downtown, what's soon to be called the Delta Center. Can't wait. It's where the Utah Jazz play, big basketball arena. And Evanescence was playing. Now I love Evanescence. I've seen her a few times. I shot her when she was just kind of getting started on one of her first US tours. And I mean, Amy Lee is a consummate performer. She's so good. So good. And anyway, that was a great time. No surprises. She was fantastic, as I expected her to be. And then a while later, Muse comes out. And Muse proceeded to blow my fucking mind. Quite honestly, they showed up with this presentation and this stagecraft and this show and these songs that, while interwoven with a pop sensibility, also said essentially, fuck your lockdown, fuck your masks, fuck your pandemic, fuck your pharmaceutical industry, fuck your authoritarian state, fuck your oppression, fuck all of this. I don't buy into any of these establishment narratives. Fuck the establishment. Like, if I were to sum up the Muse concert into like a couple of sentences, that would be it. And as you may imagine, I like that a lot. That was really good. I was super into it. Oh my God. It was so good. So good. Their performance was this very interesting mashup of like poppy, very polished poppy sounds and anthems, along with just bone crushingly heavy sections. Sometimes they're a 3-piece, just guitar, bass, drums. And they did have a supplemental backup musician on stage with them that kind of hung out in the shadows and played keyboards and guitars, but whatever. So that being said, there were times where like they would lay it down so goddamn heavy. It was impressive. Like I could hardly believe how massive and crushing their sound was, and how perfectly that sound met with the message that they were there to share of fuck the establishment, fuck the narrative, fuck the group think. We all have to be thinking for ourselves right now. We're being lied to left and right. And the thing that impressed me most about the Muse concert, this is really where the whole Sunday Night Burn is going for, or where I'm going with this. Although they were very clearly anti-establishment, they never picked a side. You know what I mean? Like they never made mention or allusion or anything towards the left or the right. They stayed very focused on principles of freedom, of autonomy, of bodily autonomy, of mental autonomy, of liberty, of live and let live, of I'm going to do me, you do you, let's not bother each other. Like they stayed very, very centered on those principles, and were like not hesitant at all to like raise a finger to anybody who wants to defy that. And I found that to be magnificent, because over the past couple of years, during a lockdown, we went through this thing where we started working from home and we started staying home a lot. Working from home normalized staying at home all the time. Zoom calls, relating to each other through screens, became the norm. And I don't think we're better for it. I think it has left us more isolated, because like we all know that looking at each other through screens is a lie. The screens at best are curations, at worst they're propaganda. Now, what's the difference between a curation and a propaganda? It's intention, and it's a fine line of that intention. That said, the past couple of years have normalized us not getting into spaces with each other, not connecting with each other. And one of the things I've been rediscovering over the past year or so, of going back out to concerts and events and parties and things like that, is this. The Muse concert, for instance, probably 18,000 people there. And we all probably believe differently, vote differently, love differently, worship differently, spend our money differently, earn our money differently, think of family differently, think about marriage differently, think about all these things in different ways. And in that moment, you know how much we cared about one another's differences? Like nothing. Nobody cares. There's magic in a concert. Like, and this can apply to anything really. It can apply to an accounting convention, an exotic reptile show, a precious gem convention, whatever. Okay, a Dungeons and Dragons, type weekend, whatever. When people get together around a thing that they love, the differences fall away. And one of the medicine of going to a great concert is to look around and be like, oh, you know what? I know you vote differently than me. I know you love differently than me. I know you do your life totally differently than me. But we're both at this show losing our minds over this artist that we both love so much, and the reason we're losing our minds over this artist is because this artist is saying things with their music and their visuals and their art that transcend the truth and transcend the world of verbal communication and words and traditional constructs. And we see this thing and we are on the same page. And therefore, on some level, you are my brother. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And there was 18,000 people there having that experience that night. Before the pandemic, we took this for granted. We would just go to shows, we'd just go to things and just whatever, we'd go and we'd just get home, and not think about it too much. But since we've experienced the excruciating consequences of lockdown and separation and division, I invite you to really pay attention next time you go to a thing, and pay attention to that medicine that's there. It's there if you listen for it, and to realize that most people want the same things. We all want 80% of the same things. You and me and your brother and your roommate and your mom and your mom's best friend and your mom's best friend's secretary. And we all want clean air to breathe. We all want access to good quality food that doesn't cost a whole bunch of money. We all want access to health care that doesn't bankrupt us. We all want to keep as much of our paycheck as we can. We all want the poor to be taken care of. We all want to be able to worship and explore consciousness in the way that we see fit without being harassed about it. We all want to love who we want to love and not be harassed about that either, and to be given equal standing under the law and access to all of the same things, regardless of how we decide to do marriage or love, right? Everybody wants these things. There's only a few things we don't agree on. Just a couple. And a lot of the times the media creates these narratives that distract us into meaningless, pointless, artificial arguments that don't actually have any substance to begin with, as a way of distracting us and keeping us thinking that we disagree with one another about that 80%. But we don't. We're all on the same page. At most, the only thing that we disagree about is how to pay for those things that we all want. And that can be important. It can. But it can be discussed, and it can be achieved. It can be compromised on. We can get creative. We can get resourceful, but only once we understand that we all want the same thing. Once we understand we're all going for the same things for the most part, getting creative about the solution is second nature. We are good as humans. We're good as Americans. We are great. We are innovators. We are problem solvers. We are value providers. America does great, great things. And this is our next thing. I'm not sure if we're going to pull it off or not, because we've been tricked into thinking we disagree about so many of these things that don't actually show up on our radar. So, God bless concerts. I am grateful to have gone to that concert. I hope you go to one. Go to a concert, go to a Precious Gem show, go to a rare reptile convention, go whatever. Go do the thing you're passionate about this week. And then look around and realize, a bunch of the people that are here live and vote and love and believe differently than me. And yet we're all on the same page about something that's really important right here too. You know what I mean? All right. Let's wrap this up. I told you that last week I was talking about getting the Soul Anarchist Man Cave together and rallying the troops and getting that going. That is going to happen. This will happen on the third Thursday of every month. We're going to get together here in Salt Lake City. I'm going to start it local, okay? I have a design about this. I know a lot of you are watching this that don't live in Salt Lake and you want to be here for it. I'm not forgetting about you. I am taking this one step at a time, okay? So first things first, for those of you who are my Salt Lake City brothers, I invite you to come out on the third Thursday of every month at 7:30 p.m. and we're going to get together for an hour and we're going to have a meeting. We'll start sharp at 7:30. If you're late, you're going to miss the best part. Just telling you. So come a little early. If you're not early, you're late. And we're going to have a 10-minute keynote from somebody either in our group or an invited expert who's going to come in and talk for 10 minutes about the thing that they do. Whether it's somebody who's the very best in the county at framing houses, or a psychologist, or somebody who's a painter, or somebody who's an accountant, or somebody who's I don't know, whatever it is that you do, I'm going to invite somebody to come in and share what they do. And it's based on this one quote from Beethoven. I want to read this to you. Let me pull this quote up real quick. This is what's driving this whole idea of the 10-minute keynote. It goes like this. Beethoven said, "Don't only practice your art, but force your way into its secrets, for it and knowledge can raise men to the divine." Don't only practice your art, but force your way into its secrets, for it and knowledge can raise men to the divine. I believe this. I believe that when, in my own experience, okay, I'm not a special snowflake. I'm sure this happens to everybody who does this, but like as I have like really settled into a craft or an art or a practice and committed myself to it, and done it day in, day out, whether I feel like it or not. That's the important part, especially the days when I don't feel like it. This is where the truth distills, okay? Doing something when you feel like it doesn't earn you any brownie points. It doesn't earn you any stars on your chart. There is no glory in doing what you feel like doing. There's just not. I mean, I'm glad you had a nice time, but you don't get any points for it. You only get points for showing up when you don't want to. That's where the juice is. And I've had so many experiences of showing up like that, and the secrets coming up and distilling themselves onto my consciousness and learning things about myself and about my relationship to the world and my relationship to other people and about the creative act, all these things. And so as I invite people to come and give these little 10-minute keynotes, this is going to be the invitation. Tell me about how you forced your way into the secrets of your art or your craft or your practice or whatever. And tell us what it's taught us, or excuse me, tell us what it's taught you about yourself. Plumbing, accounting, painting, storytelling, filmmaking, I don't care. Whatever it is, we're going to learn so many things. So, ladies, this is just for the guys. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. Like I guess talk amongst yourselves or something. I don't know. I wish I had something to offer specifically to the ladies, but I don't. I'm not one. Maybe someday I'll have an amazing woman in my life who will head that up, and that'll be cool. But for right now, I'm just a dude who's been through some stuff, and I know where to find other great dudes to bring to my friends, and that's how I'm going to show up. So anyway, that's what's going on. Third Thursday, go find, if you're interested in this, come join the Soul Anarchist Man Cave. I'll have a link to that in the description of this video. Again, it's just for the guys. I think as men, we have a unique opportunity and responsibility to show up and stand up and do better. And I'm committed to that myself. And I invite those of you who feel that call, to come along too. So, fellas, I think we can make the world a better place, but it's just one guy at a time. It starts with me. And then it starts with you. And then it starts with your friend. That's how this goes. All right. I think that's everything I was going to talk about tonight. Yeah, I've got some little heads up. I've been back in production on the podcast. I have some great new episodes coming up. I don't have drop dates for them yet, but just know that there's some really cool stuff in the can right now, and stay tuned for that. Lastly, get yourself a Soul Anarchist t-shirt. Get yourself the How Dare You t-shirt. It's one of my designs. Moral outrage has never been more in style, and so show yours off. If you follow me, you've probably seen my video for it that's been circulating around. If you want to get one of the How Dare You shirts, again, the link is in the description of this video. You can get it. It'll be sent to your house in a couple days, and you can be part of the crew. All right. Brothers, sisters, and everyone in between, I love you very much. Keep up the fine work. You know, when you live authentically, you do a thing that is, two things happen in my experience. And again, I don't think I'm a special snowflake. I think this will happen to anybody. But in my experience in living authentically, I get to live my best life. I just get to live in a way that makes me feel the very best I can in my own skin and my own space. And I just get to feel like the fullest version of me. And it's beautiful. And number two, what I've noticed is that as I do that, it echoes out and it gives other people permission to do the same thing. And once in a while, I hear from those people. And that is, it's like really beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful things to hear from somebody that says, hey, the thing you did, the way you showed up made a difference for me. And so then I showed up this way and I changed my life that way. And I'm better now. It's kind of as good. That's as good as it gets, you guys. Being able to do those two things at the same time. It's amazing. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm going to get on with my Sunday night, and it's probably about time to refill those glasses, eh? Brothers, sisters, and everyone in between, I love you very much. Keep up the fine work. Thank you for joining me. And until next time.